All right, let's talk about Amazon Web Services. AWS has hundreds of services, and if you're a developer, the biggest question is always the same. Where in the world do you even start? We're going to cut right through all that noise and give you a clear step-by-step path. So let's dive in. You know that feeling, right? You log into the AWS console for the very first time, and it's just a wall of options. It can feel pretty overwhelming. And let's be honest, moving from how we used to build things to building for the cloud can be a little awkward at first. But don't worry, there is a totally logical place to begin. So, what we're going to do is turn that huge, complex map of AWS into a simple, manageable journey. This is not about learning everything all at once. That's a recipe for disaster. This is about building a really solid foundation, one service at a time, starting with the absolute cornerstone of AWS. This right here, this is the golden rule. Before you do anything else, anything fancy, you need to get comfortable with the basics from two angles. Not just clicking around in the web interface, but also controlling things with code, with API calls. That dual skill set, it's absolutely non-negotiable for what comes next. So your journey officially starts with Amazon's Simple Storage Service, or S3. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant bottomless hard drive in the cloud. It's built to store and grab any amount of data, what AWS calls objects, from literally anywhere. And its simplicity is exactly why it's the perfect place to start. Getting good at S3 really breaks down into two parts. First, you just play around in the visual web console, create some buckets, upload files, mess with permissions. But then, and this is crucial, you have to learn to do all of that again, but this time with code using API calls. Why both? Because this process builds the fundamental muscle memory for how you'll eventually automate and control every single service in AWS. Okay, so storing your images and your static files in S3 is great. You've got that down. But that's only half the battle, right? An application needs some horsepower to actually run its logic and serve your users. And that brings us to the next logical step up the ladder. And that next level is Elastic Compute Cloud, or what everyone just calls EC2. This is where you get your hands dirty with actual virtual servers in the cloud. See, if S3 is your storage drive, then EC2 is your CPU and your RAM. It's the real workhorse of AWS. Let me make this crystal clear. You'd store a user's profile picture on S3, but the code that resizes that picture, that runs on an EC2 instance. S3 holds the what, the data. EC2 handles the how, the code that does the work. Now, I'm not going to lie, EC2 is definitely more complex than S3. It introduces you to things like virtual machines, networking, security groups, the whole shebang. But that complexity gives you fundamental control over your infrastructure, and that's a skill every single cloud developer has to understand. So now you get storage with S3 and compute with EC2. Let's connect them in a really, really powerful way using automation. This is where AWS Lambda comes into the picture, and it's all about running your code in response to, well, pretty much anything. Let's just walk through a super common example. Imagine a user uploads a new profile picture to your app. That action, the file appearing in your S3 bucket, is an event. And in the AWS world, events can kick off some amazing stuff, which, bam, automatically triggers a Lambda function. This function is just a small bit of code you wrote. It could resize the image, check it for inappropriate content, or add an entry to your database. The point is, it happens instantly, automatically, without you having a server just sitting around waiting for it. And that, my friends, is the magic of serverless. With EC2, you're responsible for the server. With Lambda, you just give AWS the code. They handle all the provisioning, managing, and scaling that's needed to run that code whenever it's triggered. It's a huge, huge leap in efficiency. Okay, so you can store files, run servers, and automate functions. But how do you pull all of those pieces together to launch a full web application? For that, we can look at a higher-level service, Elastic Beanstalk. The promise of Elastic Beanstalk is amazing. You basically just upload your code and it handles everything else, setting up servers, load balancing, auto-scaling, all of it. But here's the catch, the fine print. While the Beanstalk service itself is free, you absolutely pay for all the AWS resources it spins up for you, like those EC2 instances. And the great thing about Beanstalk is how versatile it is. I mean, look at this list. It supports pretty much all the major platforms you'd expect. Java, Python, Node.js, even Docker. So chances are you can just package up your existing code and Beanstalk will know exactly what to do with it. So let's just quickly recap our journey. We started with the absolute basics, storage with S3. Then we leveled up to managing virtual servers with EC2. From there, we learned how to automate things with serverless functions in Lambda. And finally, we saw how to tie it all together for easy deployment with Elastic Beanstalk. See, this progression takes you from the most fundamental building blocks all the way up to these higher level tools. It gives you a really solid understanding of how to actually build and run things in the cloud. So the question is no longer, where do I start? It's, okay, now what am I going to build? Hey, if this little roadmap helped clear things up for you, please do me a favor and hit that like button, share it with another developer who might be feeling a bit lost, and of course, subscribe for more explainers just like this one. Thanks for tuning in.